image here. So what is cloud computing is? It is very simple. A remote machine is being accessed. This is a remote machine. This remote machine is being accessed with the help of a browser or with the help of, let me represent this one instead of this particular. Okay, let's keep it here. And I have Windows example here. This is my Windows server, and this is going to be Linux. While I'm explaining, please do not do anything on the chat window, please. Give me some time, please understand it. Later I'll address your questions. There is a physical place. Upon the physical place, there is a physical building. Upon the physical building, inside that there are some cooling machines. Inside the cooling machines, there are servers are running. These servers we will connect with the help of our laptop or desktop, or could be a smartphone devices. Using this, we will connect them. So let me come up with one browser. Let me take this as in a browser. What are we trying to do now is, with the help of a browser, we are connecting to a cloud computing vendors. Upon our laptop, we have browsers. Using these browsers, we are typing a portal called /https:/aws.amazon.com and giving an example of Amazon as part of cloud computing. And this browser will connect to the AWS data centers. Upon the data centers, what we will have is we will have various services. This is an example of compute service. What I'm representing here is just a compute service. Just a minute, I'm just get the call. Hey, sometimes I'll be on mute suddenly because I'm getting a lot of dry cough. So please cooperate with me. So on our laptops or desktop or smartphones, we have web browsers. Using these browsers, we are accessing websites. And these websites are running from a remote data centers. We call it, today's world, we call it as cloud computing vendors. For example, I have my own website. Here it is. But this website is coming from AWS data centers. AWS has global infrastructure, means they have configured a global infrastructure of cloud computing. Across the globe, they have 26 geographical locations. Under each geographical location, they have a data centers. They have minimum one data center in a geographic location. For example, let me come up with one more example of this. I'm taking an example of AWS Global Infrastructure. AWS always deals with a region-based, they have regions. I'm taking an example of a region called Mumbai, region called Mumbai. As part of Mumbai region, AWS has data centers, three physical data centers they have. Let me, rather I just copy the compute servers. I just only copy this one. So as part of Mumbai region, AWS has three data centers like this. It's like, whenever you order a smartphone or could be anything from the Amazon portal, previously they used to take at least a week time, from there 5 days, from there 4 days, from there 2 days, from there on the same day they do a delivery. Do you know how they do? Across our city, for example, I'm staying in Hyderabad. Across Hyderabad, they divide as zones: east, west, north, south. And across these 4 zones, they will have their warehouses. The moment anybody orders, based on the user location, order will be placed onto specific zone. That particular product will be delivered to him on the same day because of these zones. Similar way, as part of cloud computing, if somebody wants to host a website, based on their customer locations, they host it on the servers. When I say servers, now whatever the website we are accessing, facebook.com, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, all these websites are coming from an operating system. And these operating systems are running from data centers. And these data centers are physical data centers. Even though if you call it as cloud computing, they are physical data centers. The beauty of it is they spread across the globe. The data centers are spread across the globe. When you go your own data center, if you have a capital with you, you are able to spend thousands of crores upon the physical data centers for your own website. You can do that. But that is highly expensive thing. Because of that reason, like AWS, which is nothing but Amazon Web Services, or Microsoft has Azure, Google has GCP, and so on. There is a list, huge list we have under cloud computing vendors. Part of cloud computing vendors, we have big list. So in that, the first journey was started with AWS. As on today, AWS has total 26 geographical locations across the globe. As part of each region, develop physical data centers. They're not in one location, they're again spread. Just give me a minute. They have data centers, and across these data centers are not located in the same place. As a given example of Amazon Web Service, Amazon.com, as they have their warehouses based on geographical location. Like for example, I have given example of Hyderabad. Across Hyderabad, they will have full warehouses based on the population, based on the city economical growth. And these warehouses are interconnected. Similar logic is applicable here. As part of Mumbai, AWS has 3 data centers. These data centers are spread across Maharashtra. And all these data centers are interconnected. They are represented in one geographical location, and each one is interconnected like this. Each data center is interconnected with a low latency cable. Each one is interconnected like this. When you launch a server, when you launch an operating system, when you deploy your website, for example, I'm running my website. Being a customer, what I look at is my website should be always up and running. It should be highly available, reliable, cost effective, performance, and reliable. And it's a highly available. That means my web server, my website should be available across. If, for example, this data center is crashed, for example, you think that under a region called Mumbai, this data center is crashed due to some reason. If it is crashed, this data center, still my website should be accessible. How it is possible? That's called high availability. So when I am configuring my servers as per my requirement, what I do, I always go with more than one data center. You may ask a question here saying why we required 3 data centers in one geographical location. Because due to any condition, any reason, if one data center is down, still another 2 data centers will be active. And whatever you deploy as part of a region called Mumbai, you can do what? Replica. You can provision your servers, one in one region, the other one is another region. So always these 2 servers will be working. Suddenly this data center is crashed. Still your server is on, your website is accessible by your customers. You or your customers never face any issues in terms of accessing your website. So this data center is down, AWS support team will take care of all this. And they will restore this data center. Even you don't notice as well. You will not come to know that it's down or up. That's what they manage it. Not only AWS, the same scenario is applicable for Azure or all the cloud computing vendors. So in a layman way, what is cloud computing means? A remote server is being accessed through a browser or through a third-party tool like Git Bash, or a third-party tool called PowerShell, or from the CMD, or from the RDP tool, or could be XYZ tools. We have many tools. So we access these servers with the help of different third-party tools, even including browsers. Wherein if you go with your own data center, you will not able to access your data center using a browser. It's not possible. You will be able to connect to your data center using, even though if you connect with the help of browser, there are some vendors that are providing browser access to your data center, your physical data center, but it's limited. Your data center is not spread across the globe. For example, you configured your data center at Mumbai, or let's say you configure data center at Bangalore by spending 1,000 crores, and your customers are increasing across the globe, and also you need one more data center at US. Again, you have to invest 2,000 crores. So like this, how many crores you invest on your data centers? It's not like one-time activity, right? It's continuous activity. It is a continuous activity, and that you and me cannot do that. I request Deepali to go on mute. And one more request, please don't suddenly unmute it. So you and me want to start a business. Now, business means it's not a physical address now. Our business is not local now. Our business is global. We need to have a website, mobile application, Then only you and me can do a business. But you and me are very small in terms of investing capital expenditure upon our business. If you start investing for the web application development itself will take 1 lakh. Mobile application development itself will take 2 lakhs. And for 3 lakhs, you have to just need to spend for the developer. It's only one-time activity. For the continuous, you have to keep on pay them. And where do you host them? You need to host on upon servers. And if you set up your own data center, as I mentioned, minimum you have to spend at least 100 crores. So which is not possible. So that's the reason cloud computing vendors are providing a solution for this problem. They understood and they started providing a solution. Now we can access all the cloud computing vendors with the help of browser. That is called graphically. Even though, let's say we can access all the cloud computing vendors with the help of browsers. And these cloud computing vendors are providing more than 200 plus services on their cloud across the globe. They have high availability, reliability, cost-effective performance, and operational excellence. All these key pillars they are providing it. How? Because they invested money. They know that everybody's need a physical address, nothing but a website, mobile application. They want to run it where? On the data centers. They cannot build their own data centers. They have to run their servers upon somebody's data centers. Somebody is nothing but a cloud computing vendors. So that's the reason. Let me go back to AWS. Now AWS has these many services. These are the AWS services. If I go to compute, under compute again you have subservices. These are subservices. Under each service again you have subcategories. You have subcategories here. If I go back to Azure, this is Azure Cloud Computing World. Here also we have similar segment. I have all resources. I have compute resources. Let me go to compute. Under compute, we'll have virtual machines here. Here we have virtual machines. Virtual machines fall under compute. In AWS, EC2. Under compute, we have EC2. So it could be AWS, it could be Azure, it could be GCP, or it could be any cloud computing vendor. They are providing a service through remotely. We are accessing them. We are creating with the help of browsers. This we call it as graphically. And also we can create them with the help of command line using AWS CLI. Here it is. Using programmatic, we call it as using scripts, using commands, we can access AWS. Using browsers, we can access AWS. It could be AWS or Azure or it could be anybody, but there are two different ways to access cloud computing vendors. First one, through browser. We create account with them. The way you create account with a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Gmail, similar way. It may be for your personal account, it may be for organization level account. It's the same process. Only thing is, here they will ask your credit card details. Why? To understand whether you are an actual user or not. Because your credit card will have proper information about you. Or else we will have a lot of alias names. So they cannot understand who is actually using their services. They will ask your first name, last name, email ID, mobile number, your billing address, and what is the purpose that you are using. Is it for your personal or is it for professional? And they give you 12 months of free AWS account. The same logic is applicable for Azure. Slight changes will be Azure provides only 30 days free trial, wherein AWS provides 12 months free account. Under 12 months free account, they provide a lot of free services. So we access cloud computing vendors with the help of browser, with the help of various ways. I can call it as two different ways. One is called programmatic, using commands, using scripts, using Python code, using Java code, using .NET. And the second one is about using browser, that we call it as management console. This flexibility will not be available with the on-premises data centers. If you are working with on-premises data centers, which is not at all possible accessing on-premise data center using browsers, using command line tools, using programmatic, like writing a Python code or writing other program, could be Java code. It's not possible. So that's the reason we use cloud computing vendors. That's how every organization is transforming. They're moving their workloads not only to one cloud, they're moving their workloads to more than one cloud, because they want to have their business on both the cloud. They are looking for high availability. They want to look at costing. They want to look at performance. They want to look at reliability. And if you just depend on one, you may feel like, you are only with one. And also every organization will have their standards. So they try all the products. So like that, they try all the vendors. So once again, I would like to conclude here. If I want to explain what is cloud computing, somebody is non-technical guy is simply, there is a remote data center. On the data centers, we will have servers. Could be a Windows server, could be a Linux server, could be a Unix server. We access them with the help of browser, with the help of programmatic. And we only pay for what we use. If your server is running, only for that particular runtime, you pay for it. If your website is running, like my website, for example, this website is running. Now, continuously the EC2 instance, a server is running in the background. That is the reason this website is not available here. And this website is accessible across the globe. Why? AWS is available across the globe. Even though I provision this server as part of Mumbai region, but still my website is accessible across the globe, and I will not face any performance issues, low latency or latency issues, or could be, for example, this data center is crashed. Still my website will be working. Why? Because AWS will take care of reliability, and the moment this data center is crashed, still your services are moved, or as we configure both locations, so our website will be accessing from other data center from the same region. Even you can go with the other region as well. That's we call it as disaster recovery. Today's world, whatever the websites we are accessing, all the websites are coming from operating systems. On top of the operating system, there is a web or application servers are running. On top of that, code is deployed. Code could be a Java, .NET, Python, Angular, WordPress, simple HTML, index.html file. They are deployed there. That's the reason we are able to access a website. This website is coming from an index.html. So as part of this session, we will be working with AWS. As part of AWS, you have to create an account. How to create an account with AWS is, go to your browser, search for aws.amazon.com/free. As part of free account, we will be able to see 3 features, 3 offers: free trials, 12 months free, always free. AWS is offering, as on today, AWS has total 200 fully featured services. Like every cloud computing vendor will have minimum of 100 plus. But AWS started his journey in 2002. By 2004, they launched 1 service. The same year, they launched 2 more services. Total 3 services they started in 2006. 2002 documentation was started. 2004 they decided one service, and by 2006 they have 3 services: S3, EC2, SNS. By now, 2022, 200 plus fully featured services they have: storage, databases, networking, artificial intelligence, machine learning, desktop as a service, whatnot, everything you have. Of course, the same scenario is applicable with other vendors. So when you are getting started with AWS says, hey, you just create account with us. And when you create account with us, we are offering 3 different types. Please look at them, understand, and create account with them. Free trials. There are some soft services, they are giving free trials only. After the free trial period, you have to pay for it and use it. Then the next one is about 12 months free. As part of your free 12 months account, some services are 12 months free and some are always free. Under 12 months free also, you'll have capping. There is a limitation, capping. If you see that these are these different products they are offering. Under each product, you'll have sub-services. Under compute, we have EC2, nothing but a virtual machines. Lambda, which is nothing but serverless. Lightsail, again, it's like private virtual servers. Elastic containers, registry, which is like Docker containers, Docker registry, Elastic load balancers. See, if you see load balancer is 12 months free, and that too, it's not completely 12 months free. You have to just understand the capping. There is a capping for on each month, 12 months free, 12 months free. And Lambda is always free for how long? 1 million requests per month. If it is exceeded, they charge you. Right, say 3 months free trial. After that, they charge you. EC2, 12 months free, but what all you can launch? A Linux machine or a Windows machine. If you're running any one server, it is applicable 750 hours per month and into 12 months. If you're running 2 servers, you can say 15 days you can run. If you're running 4 servers, 7 days you can run. And next month, 7 days, next month, 7 days, like that, 12 months you can run. So remaining hours, after 750 hours, whatever you consume, for that you have to pay. I'm just talking about one service called compute. Similar way, we have containers, we have analytics, we have application integration, we have databases, we have DevOps here, we have machine learning, we have robotics, we have media services. So before you create an account, understand this. AWS or could be Azure, anybody, they provide their services. And when you are consuming that particular service, you must understand the capping. What is the limitation that they are giving under my free account? So AWS is providing total 200 plus services as on today. Their presence is across the globe. They have 26 geographical locations. Under each location, they will have more than one physical data center, and this physical data center will not be the same location. It will be physically different locations, and both are connected with interconnected with a low latency cable. If one data center gone down, the other remaining 1 or 2 data centers will be still active. So customers of AWS, who is the customer of AWS? You and me. If you run your own website, you are the customer of AWS. If I run my own website, I deploy on AWS, then I'm the customer of AWS. I or you never face downtime. Our websites are always running. Our web applications are always running. Why? Because they take care of high availability. They take care of reliability. They take care of hardware upgradation. They take care of software upgradation. They take care of licensing. They take care of ISO certificates as per global, as per regional, as per local, as per compliance. They keep on, they update it every time. Only what we do is we just simply create account with AWS. we consume compute, storage, or database. For that, only we pay for the usage. So creating account with AWS is 12 months account free. And while you're creating account, let's click on this, create a free account. You need to provide the details like a unique email ID, password, confirm the password, account name. You have total 5 steps here. As part of these 5 steps, they will be asking about the basic questions. Your unique email ID, mobile number, address, credit or debit card details. You have to provide it. Using the email ID, for example, I'm using contact.cloudbinary@gmail.com. This is my root or super user access. And using this email ID, this particular password, I created AWS account. While I'm creating, it will ask all these details. I have to provide it. And from my credit or debit card, when I'm creating account with them, they deduct 2 INR if I'm in India. If I'm in US, $2. If I'm in Europe, €2. And this amount will be returned to our account in 48 hours. They deduct and then reverse it. Why? To just make sure that they confirm your account. Creating account with Azure, AWS, or could be GCP. Similar process is applicable. It may be for your personal use. It may be for organizational use. You can create account with the same process. There is no different details. There is no different process, I can say. And one more thing is, you can create multiple AWS accounts. Not only one, you can create multiple with the same mobile number, with the same address, with the same credit or debit card details, but not with the same email ID. So you have to go with a different email ID for the another root user account. So being a Keshav, I created a root user account. I logged into AWS. I have hired DevOps team. They are a combination of admin, developers, QA, DB admin, DevOps engineers. These are my IAM users. They are my employees. They are part of the organization called Cloud Binary, and they are the IAM users, Identity Access Management users, which means they will have some permissions. These permissions are placed onto all the permissions are mentioned here. What are the required permissions? And the permissions are attached to them in the form of policy. Each user will have their own roles and responsibilities. Based on that, they will consume this my AWS account. The same logic is applicable in real time. If you're working from X and Y company, they create account the way I created. And being a root user, they only create users. They create groups, they create permissions, they create policies. They attach these users. Who will take care of this website, or sorry, who will take care of this AWS account is, these are the people who takes care of this AWS. Being a root user, you're not supposed to provision anything. You're not provision to EC2 instances, you're not provision to their storage, you're not provision to anything that you're not supposed to do. Who should do? These people will take care of it. Even though now you will create account with AWS. So once you create account with AWS, let's say, think that you have completed all this and you created AWS account. Let's log into the root user first. I'm using one of the AWS. This is the account I'm using. Root user logging in. I'm logging to AWS as a root user because I use this email ID to create AWS account. Being a root user, you're not supposed to create any resources as per the AWS best practices. After this session tomorrow, you will create account with AWS, like me. Log into it. Like this, you will log into AWS. Once you log into AWS, using these logins, you're not supposed to create servers, storages, databases. No, it's a root user account. You're not supposed to use it for the resource creation. It's only for the user creation or group creation or creating policies. Go to services. Under services, we will have security, identity, and compliance. Under that, you will have a service called IAM, Identity Access Management. Click on that. There you create users. You have group, you have users. Directly I'm going with the users. The way I'm doing it, you have to do the similar way. Go to users. I already have existing users here. I can delete them. I can recreate new one. For example, I have 3 users here. I want to delete all these 3 users, even 4. This is a service user. That's fine. I'll delete these 3 users. Deleting an existing user. Who am I? I'm a root user. I can delete users. I can delete groups. I can delete policies. That's why I'm a root user. I'm a super user. Okay. And it's like your bank account. Will you give your bank logins to somebody? No, we don't do that. What we do? We create users who has a limited access, where we can supervise them, where we can monitor them. If they are doing wrong, we will guide them. Like that, you have to use AWS account. I'm creating a user whose name is, for example, I'm creating a user called Joel. I'm creating. This user can log into AWS in 2 different ways. One, we call it as graphically. In AWS, we call it as AWS Management Console. The second one is about programmatic access using AWS commands or AWS APIs or using software development kits using Java, .NET, Python, Angular, Node.js. Like this, you can log into AWS and you can create resources. Using development tools or scripts, programs, commands, all this, when you do, that is called programmatic. So you have to tell whether this guy can use programmatic or not by selecting this option. So select, he can log into AWS through command line, through programs, and you're creating a user who you're also allowing him to log in through browser. And through login to the browser, we need username and password. Through login to the programmatic, we need access key and secret access key. So that we will generate now. The password is going to be Azure. I'm just using anything. It's not like why am I going with Azure? It's up to you which one you want to go. Azure at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you uncheck this policy, it's a policy. IAM user change password policy. Policy consists of permissions. What permissions? This user, Joel, can log into AWS account. For the first time, when he's trying to log in, he will provide this password. And once he log into it, he will be able to change his password if it is checked. If this is checked, he will be able to change his password. If it is not checked, he will not be able to change his password. He's supposed to use the same password to log into AWS. But now, I'm not attaching a policy. As I said, AWS has 200 plus services. In order to access all these services, Joel should have permission. Who will provide the permission? Being a root user. I logged in as a root user. I should decide what he should access, which service he should access. Of course, I will not write policies from scratch. Policies were developed by AWS. They're available. Those policies, I can attach it. I look at it. I look at as per my organization compliance. I'll attach the policy. We are creating a user whose name is Joel. He will be able to log into AWS with the help of 2 different ways. One is graphically, the other one is command line. Through graphically, browser, through Git bash. That only will get a capability because you need to install this software. When you install AWS CLI on your operating system, then you will be able to log into AWS through Git bash or through PowerShell, or through command prompt, like this. You can log into AWS. But after installing this software on your operating system. Now Joel can log into the AWS with the help of browser, with the help of programmatic. This we call it a programmatic. This we call it as management console. Now let's go back here. Click on permissions. As I said, permissions, when we create a user will not have any permissions. He will not be able to create anything. Only will be able to log into AWS. Like this, you can log in, but he cannot create anything because permissions restricted. So what you have to do is you have to add this user to an existing group where group exists with the permissions. In my scenario, there are no groups, but in real time, you have engineering group, you have QA group, you have operations group, you have finance group, you have HR group. Like this, you will have group. Inside the group, users will be there. The group will have certain permissions. So policies are attached to the group. That's the reason what you do. You include a user into a group. In my scenario, group doesn't exist. You can create a group, attach policy, add a user, you'll be able to access the service. That's how it works. You can do that as well. Or you can, if your existing user is available, then you can inherit his permissions to the newly created user. So we are creating Joel user. We can inherit permissions from existing user, but we don't have existing users here. This is a service user. You can ignore it. Just now we deleted all the users. So it's a new user, fresh account like you. So directly go to attach existing policies directly to a user. And there are 739 policies are available for me. For you, when you look at it, may be differ, count may be differ. These policies are created by AWS or created by you and me. You can customize it by clicking create policy. So I'm creating a new user whose name is Joel, who can take care of my organization called Cloud Binary. Then I need to assign some permissions. So I'm selecting administrator access. Under this administrator access, AWS has 200 plus services. If you subcategorize them, there will be 1400 plus sub-services will be there. So we have 314 services access inside this policy. This policy will be able to access 314 services of AWS. How many major services? 200. How many sub-services? 1400 plus sub-services. To access 314 services, under this we have many things like, EC2 instance, load balancer, auto scaling, Route 53. To access them, you need permissions, full permissions or read-only permissions, all resources. So this administrator access, I'm attaching to a user called Joel. Click on add tags. Tag, you can say a name. His name is Joel. And let's say role, DevOps engineer, project, say Cloud Binary, project ID 2022-01-23. And you can add his email ID, mobile number, his department, all this metadata. It's needed actually. Even though they say optional here, always maintain a metadata. It's easy to identify who is he and he is from which project, he's from what's his role, what is his project ID. This are metadata is important. So click on review. Under review, what we have done, step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, step number 4. We'll be creating on step number 5. We are creating a user called Joel. He can log into AWS through programmatic and through AWS Management Console. He will not be able to change his password. He has a policy which is created by AWS. That's called managed policy, has been attached. Under this policy, there are 314 services he can access. And this is a metadata about him. Who is he, what project, what's his role, and all this metadata. Now click on create user. So being a Joel, he will log into this company's URL. This is called customized URL. So Joel should log into this URL through browser. Through programmatic, he will use these two credentials. Let me try that. This same information is available part of download.csv. What it consists is, I click on download, CSV file downloaded. Let me open it. I'm opening a CSV file. The CSV file consists of username, access key ID, secret access key, and this URL. It's opening. I'll show you that. Here it is. Username, password will not be there. Access key, secret access key, and console URL. You see, this is the complete information. So being a Joel can log into this AWS using this account, AWS Cloud Binary-IAM account. So this is the URL, access key, and secret access key. You can store it for future use on your machine. Now let's go back here. Now we will log in as IAM user. We created a user now. We have to log into AWS in two different ways. One, through browser. Who is logging in now? IAM user is logging to AWS. Keshav is created account with AWS. That's called root account. Root account is here. Let me show you that. Root account is this. This is a root account. You can see this is a root account. So now he has created a user whose name is Joel. He want to log into AWS. Then he should use this URL to log into AWS. Let's copy this URL. Go to a browser. One of the browser, I'm opening it. So we can take account ID or alias name. This is alias name. To that account, a user should log in whose name is Joel, whose password is azure@123456. Click on sign in. We created a user whose name is Joel, and he has logged into AWS account. He is IAM user. He has limited access. He can do as per his roles and responsibilities on AWS. He has logged into AWS through Graphically. This is called Management Console. When you want to log into AWS through command line, when I say command line, we on our machine, we should have command prompt, CMD or PowerShell. Using that, we want to log into AWS. How to do that? For that, what we have to do is we have to install agent. We need to install AWS CLI agent on our operating system. It could be Windows, Linux, or Unix operating system, but you must download and install CLI software. Here we go. Let's go to the browser. We need to download and install AWS CLI version 2. Latest version is version 2. This software you need to download and install based on your operating system. I'm a Mac user. I go to Mac. I click on this .pkg. It will download. After it downloads, what happens? Just right click, open it, and just go next, 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 and install it. We're Windows user. It's very simple. Not MSI file. Download it, right click, open, next, 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 and install it. Once it is installed, open git bash on your Windows. If you're a Mac user like me, open a terminal. Like this, you open a terminal and verify AWS space -hyphen version. Agent should be installed. See, agent is installed. AWS CLI is installed. If it is installed, then we can easily log into AWS. We can log into AWS with the help of programmatic. Here we require access key and secret access key. Access key and secret access key are also available part of .csv file. or I can copy from here. From this dashboard, I can copy. Or on my machine, it's already downloaded. I can open the CSV file. From there, I can copy. Now I will go to AWS space configure space enter. Here I have to provide access key. Copy the access key, provide it. Go to here, click on show, copy this, and provide it here. Say which region you want to use. There are 26 regions we have in AWS. Graphically, we can switch regions at any time. Do you see here? Here, being a Joel, I can switch to regions at any time. North Virginia to Mumbai, I can switch. And I'm in Mumbai. Mumbai to, I can switch to California, Ohio, Cape Town. I can switch anywhere. This is easy. But when you're configuring a user from the command line, you have to tell which region you want to use as a default. You can change it anyway. Whenever you want, you can switch to different region from the command line as well. From the command line, we can switch as well. But default region, you have to tell it. I want to go as a North Virginia region as a default. If it is North Virginia region, just say US-East-1. US-East-1. Here you have to type US-East-1. Here you can see graphical output. Here we have different outputs. When you type AWS CLI commands, it will give you a table format. It will give you a text format. It will give a JSON format. It will give a YAML format. So what I suggest when you're starting it, go with the text format. Now we have successfully configured a IAM user whose name is Joel. He is able to log into AWS through browser. That's we call it as Management Console. The second way is about using programmatic, using AWS CLI. Now we want to validate here whether we have connection or not. Before that, graphically we'll check. I want to go to services, service name called security, identity and compliance. There I want to go to IAM, identity access management, to see the list of users in AWS. Graphically, I see 2 users we have. The same information I want to see from the command line. For that, what I do, AWS space, IAM space, list-users, hit enter. If above connection is successful, if this is correctly configured, then you will see output here. We have username is Joel, only one user you have, and the other one is service user, SMTP user. Same information you have it here. For example, you did not understood this output properly. Then what you can do is go to AWS configure, don't modify anything on access key, don't modify anything on secret access key, don't modify region, only say output format as table. Now re-execute the same command. Now you will see table format. Like this, you will see table format. Even you have not like this output. Again, just say AWS space configure. Just say JSON format. If you execute the command like this, your output will be in a JSON format like this. So these are different types of output formats. Now I'll write YAML. From the command line, we as a users always want to see output in a different format. So we have YAML format, we have JSON format, we have table format, we have text format. Same information is being represented in different formats that you can switch and change at any time. But while you are changing this one, don't add anything here, don't add anything here, don't add anything here. For example, if you want to change the region also, you can do that. Simply Add the new value here, new region value, hit enter. Don't change anything, don't add anything here, and just add new value and just say enter, enter, finish. That's how IAM user is being configured from the command line. Through command line, you have access to AWS. Through graphical, you have access to AWS. This is how we create account with AWS and we access to AWS. Let me share this commands. IAM user login.txt. Creating account with AWS is one step. Second step is about accessing AWS through browser, being IAM user. Creating IAM user first using a root user account. Then log into AWS through graphically, through command line, using programmatic. Then AWS consists of, this is AWS Cloud. There we have regions. The one which just now I opened. Let me do one thing, close this. Now this is my root account. This is my root account. Click on this AWS Management Console. And top right corner, you have regions. These are the regions I have. If you count it, I might see 21 regions here. But AWS said that there are 26 regions. Some regions are not enabled for me. If you raise a case with AWS, there is a case support ticket, they will enable you the other regions which you don't see here. So AWS is here. They have 26 regions. Each region will have a network. Whether it could be a Mumbai region, whether it could be North Virginia region, whether it could be some region. Under each region, you will have a default network. Inside the default network, you will have availability zones. Inside the availability zones, you have subnets. Subnets are mapped with availability zones. Inside that, we provision operating systems. This is how we provision compute. Like this, every service will have their own way of provisioning. In one go, you cannot learn all 200 services. In one go, you cannot explore all. So what I suggest, first is here is at AWS. The moment you log into AWS, you are supposed to look at where you are, in which region you are. You have to check this, which region. Every region will have different functionality, different features. You created some servers here and you are looking in North Virginia, but you are in Mumbai region, you created some servers, but you are looking in North Virginia. You will not be able to see there because that data center is different and this data center is different. So you should know where did you create it. You should not use random regions. You should remember one region you should go. Under each region, you'll have network. Under network, we provision operating system. How to provision, I'll explain it. Now I'll give 5 minutes of time to ask questions. Please go ahead.
Keshav, day 2 folders are not visible on a website or on Visual Studio Code. Is that just me or?
End of the session, you will see that.
Okay.
Hi, Keshav. I have pinged my question in chat. How public cloud is different from private cloud?
Okay. If it is private cloud means on the same public cloud, you can opt your own servers, own network. That's called your private cloud. That is one example. For example, if I take an example of AWS, AWS is doing 3 different ways of cloud computing services. One, they say public cloud. This is called public cloud. On the same public cloud, if you have own network, that's your private cloud. And the other thing is also, this is called hybrid. The one which I explained just now is called hybrid cloud computing. The third one we have, which is private cloud. When you say private cloud, they come to your data center, they look at your hardware, their configuration, and they convert that into as per AWS, And they see, when it is your private cloud, you will not have all the 200 plus services, right, with you.
Yeah.
So whatever you have, for that they will give you a graphical access. They'll give you commanded access. They customize the things, but don't expect all the 200 services on your machine, on your data centers. That's your complete private cloud.
So can it be called as on-premise as well?
It's on premises, nothing but it's on premises.
Okay, yeah, fine. Thanks, Krish.
So I have a very silly question, I would say. See, we can use AWS through CLI and the GUI. That's what you said, correct?
You're right.
And the CLI, after installation of CLI, I have to access through normal command prompt to check the version of CLI. Then only I can try to access AWS, correct?
No, you have to configure a user.
You have to configure the user, but I have to use this normal normal command prompt.
CMD, Git Bash, PowerShell, anything.
Anything I can use to access that and configure that account, IAM account, and then I can access it, correct?
Yes.
So for my understanding, what you said is cloud is the kind of rented the services from the cloud as per your need. And
you're right. Yes.
Correct. And just use it, pay it, and your work is done. To creating an account, we don't have to pay anything. To have explore the AWS, we don't have to pay anything. I can explore it. When we start using services, like if I want to access any Windows or any operating system or any application or anything, then I have to pay as per the plan which you have shared, like free, 12-month and other.
Yes.
Correct. It's an overall summary which you have shared in 1 hour, for my understanding.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
It's like Uber bike, Uber, or all these guys are like, food apps or two-wheeler.
Correct.
Same logic it is.
Basically rented services.
Yes. Rented services. Yes. You use it, use and pay. That's it.
Correct. Use and pay.
Thank you.
One thing here, as you guys are using Windows has two things here. For example, graphical interface it has command line. Yes or no?
One more question. As they are having 200 services, and all 200 services are related to different kind of group, or I would say all the services will not be using in the development or deployment, correct?
No.
There are few services maybe using different services, or there are certain services which will be using in different domain.
Yes.
So domain specific services, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes it's geographical reasons as well, isn't it?
Yes, your customers are in California, and you're not supposed to provision servers in Singapore region.
Right.
California is slightly opposite direction.
Okay. So for my understanding, clarification, if I am in a development, in software development lifecycle, and I am creating an application in Java or any other things, so I may be using 4 to 5 services to host my application and improve performance, load balancing, and security, and all those things. Correct?
You're right. Yes.
Okay. So that clarification or categorization, where will I get it?
Wonderful. I'm sorry, please go ahead. Where do you like?
I want to see the categorization of those services, 200 services, in which domain, which service is meaningful, so that we can start exploring those services as per the need.
No, like this you can go with alphabetical order. Click on this.
Okay.
Click on this. Inside, if you go, sub-services will be there. Main service, inside sub-service.
Okay, but which domain this service is going to be used, that we cannot find in a summarized way, because as of now I have to go.
It will not tell you. It will not tell you which domain it belongs. The moment you look at this word, you can understand analytics.
Okay.
Analytics means, for example, I want to get the data of last month's sales. Who will be doing this analytics?
Okay.
Business BA guys, business analytics.
Okay, understood. As and when required, then we can explore it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Keshav. So I have created my root user to certain region. Suppose consider Mumbai, and I have created the IAM user.
No, first I want to correct your question.
Okay.
IAM is not like region based. IAM is global. Users are not region based.
Yeah, that's what my question was. Like, is it limited to region? No. I mean, root user is restricted to region then?
No. He's a super guy, super user. He's like a superhero. How can you limit him?
Okay,
But
so
he
it is
can limit. He can limit as a normal user, not IAM user.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, so one question. So what is the use of access key and a secret key, and what is the difference between both?
What is the use of username and password?
Okay, it's a kind of login, yeah,
Through
through browser or you are trying
perfect.
application.
Through browser, you use that from the command line. If you want to log into AWS, then access key and secret access key, username and password it is.
Okay.
So for training purpose, we can create ID and we can start creating IAM account and we can explore what you are like giving us a understanding, correct?
Yes.
We can do that easily.
But do not create anything. Do not share your root user account with anybody. It's
Okay.
like
I know that that's a private, that's a Amazon account or a credit card password I have given, and they can start using my services and
yes.
account.
If you see just now what I did, I logged in as a root user. I created a user. Immediately I deleted. Why? Because you guys have seen my username and password. You guys have seen my access key and secret access key. That's the reason I immediately, while I was discussing with you, I deleted, because obviously it's my thing. If I give it to you, you can do whatever we want. You can destroy me in a minute. That's sensitivities. Yeah. I believe now you have very good understanding on cloud computing, how to create account with AWS, how to get started as a root user, how to create a IAM user, how to log into AWS through browser as a IAM user, how to log into AWS through command line using access key and secret access key. Until this step, I believe everybody's are with me.
The command line is a little bit unclear. Is there a way you can recap like few points?
No, it's better. It's like you have to just do hands-on. Until if I explain 10 times also, you'll have the similar gap. Until unless if you don't do it yourself, you don't dirty your hands, you will not get it. Simple step.
So if,
see here, we have access key and secret access key. We open a terminal. What we did, we just simply went here and we just added keys. That's it. AWS space.
The commands are same for Windows users also.
I clearly explained it. You can use CMD, PowerShell, Git Bash. If it is different, I will tell you it is different. One thing, if you want to understand AWS, you must understand your operating system first. If you don't understand your operating system, you cannot understand AWS. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with this statement? Okay. Any questions, please? I'll give 5 more minutes because we are getting started. Actually, we are getting started today, not yesterday. Yesterday, it was like more on interaction, more on confusing, a lot of new stuff. So I want to ask question now for non-IT, non-IT technical background team, whoever we have here, please speak up. If you have any questions, ask me. I would like to help you out. We have 5 more minutes. I would like to answer your questions.
I think if you show the command, at least we can see it, then we can try it. Right now, like when you say terminal, like, does that mean I can go to visual code? That's the first question.
No,
and if
Jignesh, let me answer this. I clearly mentioned you can use CMD, PowerShell, or Git Bash. I said I'm a Mac user. I'm using a terminal because in my Mac I don't have PowerShell. I don't have a Git Bash. I don't have CMD.
So I can type AWS configure on the visual code, right? That's if you can show the codes, at least then I can try and I can let you know if I
first you have to install software. I clearly mentioned in the video, I explained everything. Look at the video and try do it Don't do it along with me, please. To do along with me, we need 200 hours to complete this course. Others, I request to please go ahead with your questions. You have 3 more minutes for the questions. Any questions?
Okay, so I have a question, like, just want to clarify, because you said that we can go through this console or maybe log into command prompt. What is the difference? Like, can I just use this and don't go for command prompt because I'm not very good at it? Or like, how does it make a difference?
Okay. The reason why we are doing from the command line is we are not going to create graphically like this. Go to services, go to compute, go to the EC2. So like lagging. Obviously, graphical user interface is always lagging. It could be AWS or Azure you can take. Real time when you're working with any project, you will not create things graphically. You create things using Terraform, using AWS CLI, or using Python with Boto 3. Like this, you deal with the code, not with the graphical. That's the reason from the day one itself, I'm saying, hey, on AWS, you can create things using graphical. The same thing you can create from the command line. When you're familiar with this, when you go with any program, like Python with Boto 3 program, creating a server, or if you go with AWS CLI command in a shell script or in a PowerShell. So there are many ways to do it. For example, I want to reach from